This is Gamer Talk episode 1. My name's Will. This is going to be a series where I do sometimes little short topics that might range from only as little as 5 minutes. Maybe I'll go much longer than that in some. For today's episode, I'm going to be talking about a game plan that nobody seems to be talking about a possibility of. And I think, although I don't think it's what will happen, I think it's a lot more likely than a lot of these deniers and media journalists and fanboys are thinking, which is the possibility of Games Pass coming to the PlayStation. And so I'm going to go over what are the pros for both companies for this, what are the cons for both companies, why I think this could happen, why I think it might not, and why, even though like there's some big negatives for some of the companies or for the companies against it, it could happen anyways. So I'm kind of going back and forth. So I don't think I'm like flip-flopping. I'm just trying to point out like counterpoint to my own to my own points that I'm making here. Like, so like the first pro would obviously, for Sony, they get all these games. They get all the Microsoft exclusive first party games. They get all the new Bethesda games. They get the EA Play on there. And then obviously they also would get that huge, like, I mean, even though they're like 2-1 on Microsoft, they'd still be getting a massive amount of gamers to come over to their platform. And what would Microsoft get out of it? Well, they would get instantly another, millions of more people to add to Games Pass subscribers, and at $10 to $15 a month, like they're already, I mean, it's just in its infancy, and they already have 15 million subscribers, so they're already making, it's hard to tell because there's the $10 and there's the $15 for Ultimate, so they're making anywhere from $1.8 billion to like $2.7 billion already a month, or I mean a year. That's what they're making per year just off of their current subscribers, and that's going to jump up big, and they could add a bunch more just like that. And then something that people haven't been talking about too is that you guys forget that both Microsoft and Sony have always lost money on all of their consoles up until like a certain point, usually somewhere around halfway through the life cycle or 3/4. They find ways to cut costs, and they start like either breaking even or turning a profit even. But for that first couple of years, they both lose money, and it's already been like, I believe it's been confirmed by both companies that they're both going to be losing $100 on each system sold. Like, I mean, yeah, that's crazy. Like, you wouldn't, so you like a lot of people just think it's all about who's selling the most consoles, but no, like they actually lose money on every single console they sell, and that's a lot. $100 lost on every single console. So like right now, both of them are sold out, so they're like losing 100 times 4 or 5 million consoles. So they're losing $400-500 million launch day, like both companies. So like that would be a way for Microsoft, like they would be putting the cost on, like, so make it so like Sony has to eat the cost on the $100 loss, and then they just make all the profit off of the Game Pass subscriptions and the game sales. So what would be the cons? Like, there's the big con that I have to bring up right away that people are probably already screaming, and like before, like, as soon as they read the title of this video or the little intro, which would be like Microsoft would essentially be killing its console by doing this, because if you could get all of the Microsoft games on a PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4, and you get all of the new games day one, you get all the ZeniMax games day one, then there would be literally no, like, the only point to to even buy an Xbox would be that it's like slightly more powerful, and that's not good enough a reason. And then, but like maybe you're in it for like the ecosystem and the controller, yeah, and it's like slightly more powerful. And then it does have the benefit of your saves actually transferring over, which is really important. And then like the guarantee of if you buy a game on this system, you're gonna own it forever. On the new system, you're gonna own it. If on the other, you're gonna have it for PC, you're gonna be able to play it on your mobile. But so I mean, you still have that, but I feel like that's not enough when like you could basically get every game for the system that's pretty much the same power level. So they would be killing their console, but so and it's like they would also be damaging their brand like that too, because you're like if you bought the Xbox Series X and then they just did that, and then the whole system tanked, and you invested $500 into that, and then you're like, what the fuck, you guys, you planned this from the beginning, and like you just like you let us buy this thing and commit to it when you knew you were just gonna abandon it. So that's why that's the biggest reason why I think that's like it's not the most likely scenario, but I still think it's more likely than them just straight up like just porting the games to PlayStation. Um, so like what's another con why Sony wouldn't want to do it? Because that's just why Microsoft like there is reasons too why Sony wouldn't want to do it, which is like I said with the company's losing $100 a console, so Sony eats the cost. It's like so you're gonna have us eat the $100 a cost and just make all the profit, like, and you're not gonna lose anything. And so like but that like the pros outweigh that, so that's not I feel like that's not too big of a deal because they're already willing to eat the cost anyway. um the other thing was like if all these awesome third-party games that are on Games Pass, then that means Sony loses the 30% cut on all of those third-party games, because there's no point in buying those games if you could just get them on Games Pass. And then they would also probably want to get a deal where maybe they could get a cut of Games Pass. That's why maybe they would still want to do that, because like they don't need the 30% cut of those games if they can just get a 30% cut of the entire Games Pass library. If they just say like, hey, if you download the Games Pass, like any games played, or I mean any subscriptions signed up through Sony, it would be like the Sony Games Pass, like Microsoft Sony Games Pass, and like they would get whatever cut they agreed to Microsoft with. I'm sure they'd probably want 30%, but Microsoft probably wouldn't want to give them that much. So that would be like a big fighting point. Um, yeah, and then also that the thing about doing that though too is that Games Pass would just absolutely, I mean, it's already hurting PlayStation Now. Like people don't even know about PlayStation Now. Um, but it would absolutely just kill it for good, because like why would you buy like Sony has already stated that they will not put brand new games day one going anytime in the future, because they don't believe that it's a sustainable model. So you know that you're never going to get brand new games day one, and then all the other games, like all the Microsoft games, are day one. So it's like why would you subscribe to like this service that has way less games and you don't get any brand new games day one? And then so yeah, it seems like there's a lot more cons, right? Than so it's like like why would this even still happen? Like the thing that makes me like there's like two reasons why I think like killing your own brand is pretty big, right? like but like it's not like both of these companies haven't made mistakes in the past, so either one of them or both of them could make a decision that's like overall not as good, like, or they, like short-sighted, or they could get pressured by upper management and shareholders and all that to like be turning a profit immediately and think in the short term. And I don't think that's gonna happen because ever since Phil Spencer's taken over, Microsoft has been making a lot better decisions and they've been thinking a lot more long term. But I mean, just like that conversation that he said, like between him and Satya Nadella, like I mean, that's concerning. Where he's like basically like, "Hey, why are we in this Games Pass deal?" Like, or I mean, not a Games Pass. Why are we in gaming? And it's like he has he had to have it explained to him. So it's like the head of all of Microsoft like didn't know why they were in gaming, and and like Phil Spencer had to lay it out for him, and luckily he saw the light, and they're sticking with it for the long term. But that doesn't mean that he might not go the other way. And like if like anything could set off, like PlayStation could win this console cycle anyways, like despite like the Game Pass being such a good deal and everything. And it seems like things are flipping this generation again, but like that doesn't mean that they will. And then the other thing that makes me think that that could still be a possibility of this happening would be that Microsoft, I mean, if they're already like clearly this generation, like they're really going in on Games Pass. Like that's going to be their future, is to be the Netflix of gaming. In my opinion, they already, even before the ZeniMax deal, it already was like the Netflix of gaming. If you didn't think so before, with them adding EA Play and buying ZeniMax, like that, for sure they are now. But like they really seem to be like pushing for that. Like they have like the all access where you could sign up for the console. You get the console for $35 a month, and you get Games Pass Ultimate. And like, yeah, they're really just trying to get people on that subscription model, and that seems to be what they're going for. So if they're already going for that as their main focus this generation, then it's possible that they're just using this generation as a stepping stone to just go all in on Games Pass, and then like in the not even compete in the future generation, just try to get Games Pass on Sony and Nintendo and maybe Apple. Um, but I hope not, because I really like I like having like being able, like the idea of like I can just unplug the hard drive, my external hard drive that I have almost all my Xbox One games on, and then just plug it straight into my Xbox Series X, and all my games are already installed. And if I want them to run faster, like faster load times, then I can just transfer that game on over, and then like all my saves are upheld from before. And then if a new like remastered version of the game comes out, I already own it, so I get it for free. Like I really like that ecosystem, so I really hope that they like stay in it in the long haul. Um, yeah, so I don't know. Like, let me guys know if you what you think. You think this is a really low possibility, a high possibility? I should have said before at the beginning is like I think like the most likely scenario is just like all those games are exclusive only to Microsoft platform, like all the ZeniMax games, and like their big hitters like Gears and Halo and all that and Forza. And like you might see like a less successful, like most people are thinking like, oh, they'll put over yeah, for some reason people think like if they want to make money that, oh, they'll put over like Elder Scrolls and Fallout so that they can sell it there, and they'll just like publish the games on there on the disc. But and then like they'll just keep like the smaller games exclusive. But it's like, well, no, that won't drive people to Games Pass. The whole point is to get people on Games Pass. So like it would be the opposite way. Like you might get people, or you might get the smaller games like Prey 2 and Dishonored 3, like that are like really good games, but like you're trying to get more people on that franchise, so you put those smaller ones over on PlayStation, maybe. Like even then that's like a maybe. And then like the people are like, oh, like I know I already want to play Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5, whatever, so like I wanted, I that's already tempting. And now like there's all these other bonus games like Wolfenstein and Prey and Dishonored. Is like I don't have to pay for those games. I can just get them for free on top of the fact that I already wanted Elder Scrolls and Fallout. Like I think like that's the most likely scenario. Is like, yeah, they don't, anything that's not like online multiplayer, like that's gonna be um yeah, it's just gonna be exclusive to the Xbox platforms, Xbox, PC, and xCloud. But like the yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that this is possible out getting Games Pass on PlayStation? Do you think also that Games Pass could come to Nintendo Switch in any form? Like I know like they can't run a lot of these games, but they can run some of them, and it would be, maybe that's a lot more likely because they could just put on like a small handful of the older games that could run on a Switch. All right. Thanks for listening. If you like this, please subscribe because YouTube does not even let you do ads or give you ad revenue to people who barely have any subscribers. So it'd be nice to at least get like some pennies each month.